If you're watching this video, then it's very likely that you're a music producer that has been struggling with, your time, your efficiency, possibly even the fun and enjoyment has been gone from, writing music for quite some time. And you're trying to figure out how you can get that fulfillment back. How can you get excited to write music again like how you used to? Well, the fact of the matter is it might not actually be because you're bored of writing music or anything like that, or that it's too hard or that you don't have the time. It might actually just because you have a lot of external factors influencing yourself. And I don't mean in the sense that, you're tired from work or that you just have so much other things to do. It's actually just because you've got a lot of unhealthy habits, unhealthy distractions that are, hindering your progress, that are distracting you from focusing on what's actually really good for you, your healthy distractions. Because the thing is, there's two different distractions. There's healthy ones and unhealthy. Healthy ones would be things such as, self-improvement, things that will level us up in terms of physically, professionally, socially, spiritually, whatever you want to call it, things that are just going to level us up and get us closer to our goals, that give us fulfillment. While unhealthy distractions are things that are just kind of just giving us a little band-aid of comfort, right? So things such as video games, movies, like turning on Netflix, whatever, streaming, cigarettes, vaping, pornography, fast food, all these instant gratification things, like they're just giving us a bit of a reward just temporarily, right? And so we don't want to be having, complete focus on unhealthy distractions here, because you're never really going to get what you want out of your life. You're just going to be really numbing yourself for an extended period of time until you finally realize you're just unhealthy and unhappy underneath all of these things. So it's really just something that's there to stop you thinking and ruminating about what's really going on in your life, all the things that you're actually trying to deal with. Your body and your mind might be trying to remind you, you need to do this, you need to level up in this area, but you can't because you're ruminating on these distractions. When you're playing video games, you're completely fixated on a single part of the screen. And the thing is, when you're actually got your eyesight fixated on a single part of a screen or area, whatever, you're completely focused on that and you can't actually ruminate about external thoughts. And that's why it's so comforting when you're playing video games or watching a movie. Your eyesight is so fixated that you're not actually ruminating about all the things that are worrying you anymore. So it doesn't actually resolve the problem though. It just gives you that, bit of relief. And that's why oftentimes people, they will wind down at the end of the night playing video games or, watching Netflix and whatnot, because it gives them that sense of peace and calmness from all those thoughts that they're dealing with. But again, this doesn't solve the problem. And so those couple of hours that you actually had left after work, you could have been putting that towards the things that are actually making you unhappy. And so for a lot of music producers in this situation, it might actually just because you're unsatisfied with where you're currently at with your music career. And so you start deviating towards these comforts. And so we have to start asking ourselves, how do we get away from these comforts and make music production, like writing it, as comforting as those unhealthy distractions? Because we can't just cut out the unhealthy distractions and expect us to be, okay, I'm writing music all the time, 24/7 now. We can't do that because it's going to really suck. And it's going to be so hard to do that without getting that same fixation as easily. So we can't just go cold turkey. We need to make the healthy distraction as enticing. We need to make it as addictive. We need to make it so then the reward is just as instantaneous, right? So how do we get that gratification? Well, the whole gratification behind both of these things, these distractions, it's really dopamine. So all these dopaminergic activities, like dopamine, if you don't know what it is, it's a chemical in your brain that's released when we're, chasing after things, when we're doing things, when we're achieving things. It's like the doing, it's the drive behind why we do what we do. It's that purpose, right? And so if we have easy access to dopamine, your brain is going to protect those things at all costs. It's not going to want to give up the video games, the movies, because it gives it that chemical that it craves, right? That purpose. So we need to not so much just remove them cold turkey, we need to make the other healthy things like gamified. We need to make it so then it's like just as attractive for the brain. So how do we get there? We need to make it so then that gratification is something that we get almost instantaneously. How do we get that? It's by streamlining the production process. So if we're able to streamline your entire creative process, so then you start getting that dopamine reward faster, that means you're going to spend more time gravitating towards music production and you're going to stay there longer as well. Because the thing is, with writing music, it usually takes a couple of hours before, or maybe just an hour before you start to get that same dopamine reward, right? So if we're able to streamline the entire process, so then, not only you get it quicker, but the entire process is just giving you dopamine on a drip feed, that's going to keep you addicted production. Like that's what you want. If you want to be somebody that is a touring artist, that is playing shows like every week and whatnot, or even every day on a tour, then you have to be somebody that's willing to sacrifice everything for this. Like you have to go all in. And it's not going to be easy, but there are ways of making it easier. And that's why I'm talking about this whole process. Like if you want to make this something that is incredibly enjoyable and doesn't become like a chore or like a job, and it's something that is still going to be your passion regardless of how long you spend time doing these things, then this is what you have to do. You have to streamline the process. So let's talk about how we actually streamline the process. First of all, we need to eliminate bottlenecks. Bottlenecks are just things that are kind of slowing us down in the process. So things that might be hindering your progress, where you often spend too much time doing a specific task. So let's say it's like in your mix and master, maybe you take too long to process your sounds, or maybe you take too long to get all your leveling right. So maybe it comes down to figuring out a way to soft clip all your channels individually or your groups. So then you have like the same kind of mixing structure for every single track that you start in your template. So there's things like that. And then there's also ways of optimizing, let's say, your sound design. So maybe you'd want to do lots of resampling sessions prior to starting a project. So then you have them all just ready to go and you can just drag and drop ideas straight in. Or maybe it's like saving more groups. So then you have like whole instrument racks with the programming already there. Or maybe it's something to do with like saving MIDI files, so you can just already have like lots of melodies and whatnot to just drag in. Or maybe it's even just presets, patches, anything like that that is going to like speed up that entire production process. So just really streamlining the whole thing. And of course the template too, like that's the overall thing, depending on whether you want to add more things or make it more minimal, whatever your preference is. So the more time we spend on actually, getting rid of bottlenecks, the more efficient you're going to be, because, if you're spending a little bit of time just going through your entire production process, figuring out, when you're writing your structure, how long did that take you? With your mix and master, how long did that take you? With your sound design, same thing. So just writing down, the time length it takes you to do each of these tasks, and then figuring out why did it take you so long to do this specific thing? And then you can kind of re-engineer the process. Like, okay, so if I'm taking too long on my sound design, what can I do to level that up? What can I do to stop taking so long? Because the thing is, the more time that you can spend in this area, it's going to be saving you thousands of hours long term, because every time you write a track, you're going to be more efficient, you're going to be faster. And the thing is, the reason why we often deviate from production onto like video games and movies and stuff like that, it's not just because those things are like instant gratification, but it's also because if we take too long to get the reward system going in like writing music, we're just going to naturally do that, right? We're going to find whatever quick fix that is. So oftentimes when people are writing a song and they spend too much time doing it, they will abandon the project and they'll start something new. It's an often very, very common case I find with people that I work with in industry set, that they will just keep starting new projects and they'll never finish what they finished. And the reason being is that they didn't actually get that dopamine hit quick enough. So it's not to say that the song got boring or anything like that. It's really just because they weren't getting that gratification that they were getting from, starting a new track. And because when you start something new, it's exciting, it's overwhelming, it's like all these different potentials. But when you've got like 80% of the song finished and you're at the hardest part, it can be very difficult to get that last hit, because the final thing you need to do is wrap it up, do the mix and master, and call it a day. But a lot of people fall short on that, because not just because they don't have the technicality or the know-how on how to get to that point, but it's actually just because they took too long to get there. So the quicker you can get to the end result, the faster you're going to get that dopamine result. And then also the faster it's going to be with you finishing tracks and staying consistent and actually finishing them. Like, you're not just going to keep making new ones over and over. You're going to have, a full finished track, and then you're going to be accomplished in doing that and move on to the next one and the next one. And you're going to have that dopamine, domino effect where you just keep doing more and more. And that's how these guys in like the touring world, how they're able to just keep feeling sustained in what they're doing. And so, I just wanted to really brush over why we deviate towards these things despite something that we are so passionate about, yet we spend so much time doing these other things. So next time when you come home from work and you're considering hopping on a video game or whatnot, just spend a little bit of time on your production bottlenecks. So not saying that you need to write a whole track or try and finish songs that you're sitting on. Just go and look at the fundamentals behind why you're taking so long to finish what you're working on. because in the long run, that's actually going to make it so then when you do feel like writing music, you're going to smash it out of the park. You're going to be able to write tons of music because you won't have anything slowing you down in terms of your progress. If you got a lot of value out of this video, then click the subscribe button below this video, and then also check out the link in our bio, which heads to our website. From there, you can put in your information and get a bunch of free coaching material from us, as well as you can also book in a one-on-one discovery session with myself or one of the other student advisors. And from there, we can figure out if you're a good fit for Industry Set. You might not be, but the only way to find out is actually have a conversation about it. That being said, guys, I'll see you in the next video.